Hey, you're here. I'm here.
Yep,
Must be Tuesday morning.
it is, I think.
Yeah, check the watch, make sure. Because we just seem to pop up here every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, don't we?
I know. So far, we haven't really missed one.
No, we haven't. We're going on how many years now? Are we in our third
It's
year?
two. It's no, it's not third yet. It's two.
Oh, you were coming up on 2 years. That's right.
We
Oh,
are on 2 years. We're coming up. We'll be third in September, I believe.
yeah. I mean, God, how could we think of all of these things to talk about?
There's been a couple days where we've come close to missing one. We're like, oh, we're not going to be able to record this week, or, but it's managed to work out. This week in particular, I wasn't sure. I mean, you had a lot going on, totally understandable. I just went from like a normal week to just boom, boom, boom. I wasn't sure what was going to happen this week.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, you on a regular basis, you're burning the candle at both ends, but it seems like lately you cut the candle in half and now you're burning the candle at four ends.
I know it's been rough, man. I don't know why I don't see an end in sight right
You
now.
don't see, you
So,
can't quite see the horizon yet.
yeah, I can't. So I'm hoping that it's a good thing on that on other stuff that I do that it's done. Like if I had to record my podcast as well as this right now, I'd probably lose it. I'd probably be very angry.
Yeah, well, I mean, my schedule is fairly complicated, but man,
Yeah.
nothing compared to yours. I mean, I've never seen a guy juggle 8 items at the same time.
Hey, we'll get there, man. We'll
But
work it out.
you're a pro at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Which kind of is a segue into what we were going to talk about today, and it was about things that we either have done in the past and just don't want to do again, or things we've done that we just don't think we should ever do again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you just one example. Is I was an avid runner for 20 years. Everything 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, even a couple of marathons. I'll never do that again. I mean, just
Yeah.
because physically I couldn't do it again. But I got really good memories of it. But it's just something that I think about, and yeah, those were some really good times. But hey, it's definitely on the shelf in the memory bank.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's more of a physical thing, that what the prep work you have to do for it when
Right.
you are in quote unquote peak condition is still tough. You know what I mean? It's still so when you've gotten out of that, I can imagine being like, I don't want to go through that again. Like, I mean, not to say that you couldn't. I think you could if you paced yourself and prep, but well, why do you want to? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I mean, look, that's what a lot of pro athletes are all about too. They know that they're going to play in the pros for a limited number of years.
Absolutely.
And while it's been a great part of their life, and it probably set them up financially, and all, they realize that I'll never play that game again unless it's like on for a little league or something like that, or become a coach now because I'm not going to be a player again.
Right.
So but I guess often we do things that we think we're going to continue to do, but life gets in the way, and you end up not doing it.
Yeah, you end up making changes in life. And then there's some things you've just tried out and you're like, I'm not, or you could say I did it once. I just checked it off my bucket list,
Yeah.
I
Are there
did it once.
are there some things that you did once that you said, okay, I got my thrill and I'll never do it again?
I don't know if it's so much. Like I said, I think we've talked about it, or maybe I talked about it with somebody else. Um, Probably somebody, I don't know. Skydiving is one of them, but and had it been 10, 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I mean, I wanted to do it more than once. We almost did. I had to postpone it. But now, as I've gotten older, it's not so much that I'm terrified or scared of it, because that I'm not. It's just the idea of putting myself in a situation where something could happen and then my son doesn't have a dad.
Right. Right.
Like, you just can't be stupid. Like, there's already enough things that go on in life that put you in situations. I mean, just driving to work is a situation, you know?
Yeah.
Just going to work is a situation these days. Why do I need to add to it? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't foresee myself doing that again unless I'm really old and I know that he's good, or maybe he wants to do it one day, you know? Yeah, I don't see that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll do that again.
Yeah. For me, I think snow skiing. Tried it once. I really sucked at it. And I don't see myself going down a hill on blades again and smashing into a snowbank. Uh, I'll put my money on a snowmobile
The
or
the
something.
few times I went more than a few times skiing. Was I great? No. Could I do it? Yeah. On the basic level, sure. Would I do it again? If it comes up. I won't do snowboarding. I suck at that. You want to talk about a train wreck? I am awful. I get on that board, I'm like, I made it on, guys. What else we got? You know,
Right,
like,
right.
I'm horrible. I was always horrible at it.
Yeah.
I will never do that again. But
I'll watch
it's
it
not,
on TV.
yeah, it's amazing. I'll do a lot of it. But I also think there's things on a simplistic level too. Like, for me, I say this, and we should, the words of never say never, but I'll never work in a bar again. Um, and
Really?
I think I've proven that over the last 3.5 years, 4 years. It's been about 3 years, maybe almost four, since I've been out of the bars. And yeah, no, I won't.
It's
I've
one of those been there, done that type of things.
been there, done that a lot. And I hear people that do it. And again, I'm not putting anybody down. I've got friends that do it. No, I don't miss that. I don't miss what comes with that. And I think what people don't understand, because there's some people that have never worked in that industry. There's a whole other level. There's a whole other world that people don't see and don't understand. So knowing that world, I don't want to do it. It's also a lot different. The industry has changed dramatically than what it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's not for the better. So no, I'll never do it. And I've had offers. Not recently, but a year ago, a year and a half ago. No, not doing it. I'm retired from that.
So if you ever had the opportunity to own a bar,
No, you can keep it.
just
You
just
can
just
you can keep it.
totally it's part of the past.
I don't even really have a desire to go to a bar. So why do I want to own one? Like, in this climate, no. There, yeah, and it's not. There's a level of it that is like, I could be burnt, I could be jaded, but the reality of it
Yeah.
is, no, I'm not jaded. It doesn't make sense, like.
Well, you know enough about it to know what the highs and lows are, and when the lows outweigh the highs, you say, "Okay, I've experienced it."
Absolutely. I have a buddy of mine who always said, "Yeah, you'll be back. You'll be back." And I think finally now he's like, "Yeah, you're not going back." Because I won't. I mean, I worked at a job that I picked up just part-time. This was right when COVID hit, just because I didn't want to go to the bars, and I stayed at that job for almost 2 years. That should tell you. And I didn't really like that job. So that should tell you that,
Yeah.
if I chose that job over a bar where I was making less money, obviously. So yeah, that's a big thing for me.
I think there's lots of people that are working in a job right now that they really enjoy, but it's not what they really studied. For instance, maybe they studied accounting, figuring they were going to be a bookkeeper or an accountant or something, and now they're a stand-up comedian, and they really enjoy what they're doing. They enjoy entertaining, but that's not what they trained for, thought they were going to enjoy doing. So they say, I'll never go back to being an accountant. I'm never going to go back to that desk job. I want to be outside. Yeah.
It's a mental thing, and I appreciate that. I think another thing too is it's also a simplistic thing too. Like, I'll never do drugs again of any form. I mean, minus, whatever pill I got to take because I got a headache or something.
Right.
I won't do that. And I just recently talked about some drug experiences on a show. And I think about those days and I'm like, good God. Like I'm not, again, if somebody's out there smoking, I'm not against you. Like you're smoke weed, hey, do you. I'm not gonna judge. But yeah, I just don't have that in my 44-year-old life, you know?
And you bring up a good point, because again, that's part of something that you experimented as a kid. You did it once, like jumping off a bridge on a bungee cord.
I did that
It
too.
was like a fad. It was, people did it, and you said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. And you did it once, and you say, okay, fine, I did, but I'll never do that again. You mentioned jumping out of planes. I remember when I was a kid, when I got my first car, and I'm glad that, I mean, I'm sorry that both of my parents are gone, but if they had known that I ever went drag racing in the family car, and I mean, and I was not a good drag racer, but it was just at that time when you were a teenager and you got your family car and you knew how to put your left foot on the brake and your right foot on the accelerator and try and lay some rubber. You did it, but would I ever get into a muscle car again today to try and beat somebody else down the street? No, never again.
Or like stupid things. I mean, we can all look back at stupid things we've done, like, outrunning.
That's what made us who we are. Was the stupid
Absolutely.
things we did.
Absolutely. Like, the drag racing or outrunning the police officers and getting away with it a couple times. Like, you kidding me?
You did
No,
that?
man. I've done that. I've done that twice, actually.
I,
Once
I
on
remember
foot.
I remember your jaywalking story in Canada.
Yeah, I didn't get away that time, but no, twice actually. Once in a car with a friend that I'm still friends with who was driving. We did something very stupid. We were into this. We were egging people, just literally egging people back when eggs were cheap,
Right.
And my buddy thought it would be a good idea to egg this car because he thought he knew him. He rolled down the window, threw eggs at the car, and there's a police officer right behind us. So what does my buddy do who's driving? Oh, I got this. This fool takes off, driving, boom, 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 fast, cuts through a subdivision, comes around. We end up 2 cars behind the police officer. We just slowly rolled into Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Never got busted, which is weird because I'm like, doesn't this guy have our license plate? Like, nothing. And then the other time we were at a party and the party got busted up and we physically ran from the police, and we hid. There's all these bushes and there's like a little creek, literally laid down behind the bushes with the cops out there with their lights looking until they eventually just gave up and left. So
yeah, there's that Navarro kid. Let's keep an eye on him.
I won't be doing that again.
He's bound to do something stupid eventually.
Right. Number one, I'm not throwing eggs out the window because they're expensive. Okay. Number two, I'm just not doing that. Number three, a cop puts his lights on. I'm like, bro, I'm turning over. I don't, I got Luke in the back telling me, we're driving. Hey, Dad, don't drive. There's a police officer behind us. Don't drive fast. There's a cop behind us. And I'm like, are you my lookout now?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And I don't go to parties that are going to get busted up. I'm just not, I'm good,
Yeah. I mean, again, the old phrase has been there and done that.
Yeah. It's just, look, I think as we get older, it's not even older. I would say smarter, but I don't know if I'm that much smarter. I think we just realized what, I'm not doing it. I got a buddy who went diving with sharks. I'm good. I love sharks. I love the ocean. I don't need to tease them at dangling a steak in front of them so they could come at. And he wonders, he's like, man, there were some pretty big ones there. Well, no kidding. It's like you go to Ethiopia with a pizza and try walking through. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to eat you.
Yeah. Why tempt it? Yeah.
I can't do it.
So I mean, I growing up when I first started out, I used to rent apartments and all, and then I finally bought my first house, and I've
Yeah.
owned a house. I don't know whether I could ever go back to renting again. I mean, maybe as I get older and I can't afford to keep up the house, I'll end up going into a retirement center and renting. But you've done both, owned and rented. Which direction you going to go in?
I think there's something to be said about both, to be honest with you. I really do. I still stand by that. The problem is, of course, we've talked about it numerous times, is the pricing of things these days,
Right.
especially where we are. It's not going to change. I watched a thing recently, and they said that average across the United States, if you were to have a two-bedroom apartment to rent, that the cost of food, the utilities, the insurance, your gas, all that, you would need a second job before you even pay rent to pay for that two-bedroom. That your first job barely covers food and utilities.
You're right.
So that's number one. That's a whole different topic, and that's completely ridiculous. But there's something to be said about renting, to being able to, number one, walk away whenever you feel like it, regardless. I know you're on a lease, but you could just dip. Like if push came to shove, you could be like, I'll pay the late fee or I'll pay the exit fee and leave. There's something to that. Number two, there's something about, if my light bulb goes out, I don't have to buy a light bulb. I can literally call you and fix my light bulb. If my toilet leaks, I'm not fixing that. That's on you. If my
Right.
air conditioner goes out, that's on you. When we had that big giant ice storm and people's pipes were bursting, yeah, it sucks. They didn't have to fix those in the apartment complex. That was on them. So
Yeah.
I think there's something about that, but it's I don't
Well, the
know.
other thing too is for home ownership, unless you know I'm going to be here for 10 or 15 or 20 years. I mean, somebody who is in a business where they could get transferred on a regular basis to buy a house and then find out 2 years later you're being transferred to another part of the country. Now you got to
Yeah.
put your house up for sale, you got to find another house, and then there's usually that period in between where before I can move into the new house, I got to sell the old house. And now maybe I got to rent an apartment in between and store my goods. Man, all of a sudden you find out that expense side is more than you can handle too.
I've talked to people that I work with that came from other locations that had to sell their home, and then they were waiting for their new home to be ready, and they had to rent for 2 months. And I'm like, so then you're paying the cost of renting for 2 months, which is expensive because you're
Right.
doing month to month. You have a storage unit, expensive, and then you're living in a place that you really can't design and make a home because you're living there. So you've got your bed, maybe a TV, and some milk and beer in the fridge. So you're just,
And
I don't know.
if you're young enough to be able to rent a truck and move your own goods, whether it's across the city or across the state or whatever, that's one thing. But the cost of moving itself is prohibitive.
Yeah.
If you're going to rent, sometimes rent a furnished place. Everything is there. When you leave, you go someplace else and you rent another furnished place, and I got all new furniture, all new dishes, silverware, new surroundings, and all. You're right. There's something to be said for that, for the rental process. Plus the fact, if you buy, all of a sudden, what happens if the value starts going down instead of up?
Well, yeah, there's that. And then there's also, again, when you're buying, you are just responsible for yeah, you can get a warranty on this and a
Right,
warranty on that.
right.
But look, I mean, even now, like I'm looking at my lawn and I'm like, because Texas is insane with the weather, my lawn is, I got to get it cut. Like we just had 2 days of rain. We potentially have more rain coming. It's going to be 82 today.
Early March.
Right. And now I do think, I will still say this. I think in the next week or two, maybe three, we're going to get a couple of days of cold, not ice, not snow, but we're going to get
Right.
cold. And that'll be the end of it. Once that happens, it'll be the end of it. But I'm looking at my lawn and I'm like, why do I have to cut my lawn in March? I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
But here we
It,
are. Now,
yeah.
but that goes on you. That goes on. That's an expense. Now you're buying the weed killer. Now you got an apartment complex or you got a nice apartment. You don't got to, who cares?
Well, if you live in a if you live in a place where they take care of the grounds, they're cutting the grass in January
Yeah, they are. Trust me.
because
When I lived in that apartment,
they're on a schedule.
I was out there and when I lived in the apartment, I'm like, dude, it's February. What are you doing? There's no
Yeah.
lawn there. You're cutting nothing.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
but hey, listen, it's all part of my rent, so what do I care?
Yeah. So I think there's something to be said of that. You know what I mean? Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
So, any sports that you've tried that you would say I'll never do that again?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think all of them. I'm not playing any of them, but I mean, for fun and like pickup leagues and stuff, I could do that. But
Yeah, but
no.
wait till Luke gets a little bit older.
Well, he's already ready to get back into soccer
Yeah,
again. He's ready, and I'm good with that. Like we play soccer a lot, and I'm leaving it up to him. I'm leaving it up to him what he likes. He flat out told me he does not like baseball. He has said that I do not like baseball at
yeah,
all, and I'm like, cool.
not enough action in it.
He went to a game and he was bored. He had fun with everything else around the game, the Rough Riders, everything else, and he loved yelling and cheering. But it was too long, and he was like, he liked the entertainment side of it,
Right, right.
which the Rough Riders are a great game. He likes football, but look, I don't want him to even try football. He's also, I don't think he's going to be very big. So, but if he wants to try it, I'm not going to say no. Basketball, he's screwed on that, but he does like watching it and playing it. But he did tell me just the other day he wants to get back into soccer again. So we'll see. I asked him if he wanted me to coach again or if he wants another coach, because I think me coaching I think it was good. And I also think it kind of threw him off a little bit because I'm his dad. And here I am having to focus on this whole team. But he said, I want you to be my coach. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. I would love for him to stick with soccer. I'm not going to push it. But I would love to coach again too. That was such a rewarding experience,
Well, and that's the part of discovery, is we try things like music.
Yes.
You play an instrument for a while and you either get good at it and it really connects, or you say, I played the piano for 10 years and all, and I'll probably never play the piano again.
Right.
Or, but I think that's part of the growth of who we are and what we do, is the fact that we can look back and say, I did some pretty stupid stuff in my day.
Oh my God, yes.
And I don't think I'll ever do it again.
No, I mean, there's some things we know we won't do.
Yeah. However,
I don't think I'll get married again.
No,
I'm 44. That's not old. I know.
no, it's not old.
But why? Like, here's the thing. Here's my struggle. And I try to explain this to people. It's not about like being burnt. It's not about that. Number one, it's a time thing. Number two, the idea of meeting somebody and formulating this relationship and cultivating it and investing, then dude, that's a lot of time. I'm not doing it. I don't have time for it. And if I do have time for it, it just seems exhausting. Like, if I think it's exhausting, the thought of it, then I shouldn't try.
Well, you are comfortable in doing things your way. Taking care of your house, taking care of Luke, taking care of everything that goes along with that. There are other people that just can't handle it. I mean,
That's fair.
there are some guys and all that if they go through a divorce and all, they don't know how to do laundry, they don't know how to clean a place, and so they'll let it go for a month or two, and then maybe hire. But whatever your comfort zone is, but at 44, man, I wouldn't close the door on it, because sometimes you may get blindsided and all of a sudden you're going to have that boing moment, and there's somebody that kind of fits in to my normal. But would it happen now? Now, I think you're comfortable with your life the way it is.
Yeah,
with
the doors
Luke,
bolted shut.
yeah, yeah. But once Luke hits 18 and he's out of the house, you may change your mind.
Yeah, but then I look at like, how old I'll be, and it's not old, but I'm like, then I want to do other stuff. Then I just want to go, like, I'll go travel, and I'll go, hang out or actually be an adult for a minute,
You're going to grow up.
I didn't say that.
You're actually going to grow up.
No, I didn't say that. I just, some of my money will shift to more adult things, and maybe I can buy something,
Yeah. You don't want to grow up. You're a Toys R Us kid.
I'm telling you, man.
Well, there are things that we've done that we continue to do and want to continue to do, and there are other things that we do that we say we'll never do again. And so I think it made for a great conversation. Another great trash talk, says it right on your chest. So we'll go out and make it a great day, and come back, join us again next week, 8 a.m. on Tuesday, for another edition of Trash Talk.
Absolutely.
Bye.